What's good, Kings? I'm not that great at writing a script or whatever, and I just did a first draft in my notes because I had this idea. I hope I'm not like reiterating one of my old videos, but the main concept or thought or lesson that I had was the longer you retain, you just become disgusted with your old self, bro. And I hope this doesn't come off as like me judging myself or feeling a lack of compassion for my younger self, but it boils down to a sense of disgust with the Coomer version of me. I was disgusted with the way I behaved. I was disgusted with my lack of values, the lack of morality I had. When I was younger, I was often arrogant and I overestimated myself. And God always humbled me one way or another when my ego got too far. I remember just 1.5 years ago, I was trying out jujitsu. I'm gonna go off on a tangent. And I only did like a handful of classes, right? But trying out the Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes, it humbled me into thinking or realizing how weak I am compared to people who are actually capable of doing serious damage, like the trained fighters. And I learned that like the real tough guys, the real fighters, they're not like this bravado trying to be like all macho and stuff. They actually like don't want to hurt the weaker guys. And I feel like that's like true masculinity, where you're capable and you're confident, but you also want to uplift the the men below you, or the boys, like you want to teach and uplift and inspire. You don't come from a place of arrogance into thinking like you validate yourself by thinking, oh, I'm stronger than the next guy, or I'm better than the next guy. And so, the I remember this one dude who was a black belt. I was rolling with him, and we were like testing a technique that the instructor was teaching us in that class. And the dude, he was just messing with me, and he found humor in how much I was struggling, like giving like my 110% into like thinking I could go head to head with this guy, or just to see what I was capable of. And really, it felt like he was only putting in like 2 or 3% of his um, capability. And so, like, me dipping my toe into this pool of this realm, of jujitsu, his expertise, his years of experience, and the tools he has in his repertoire, I realized the gap or the distance between me and these trained fighters, or like these tough guys, like actually tough in terms of physical combat, right? And so I remember another day, I think it was the last class I took. I was rolling with these newer guys, the white belts, the blue belts, or like whatever the rank is above white, the lower level guys. And these guys, they have something to prove, I suppose. And one of them actually like hurt my shoulder despite me only rolling with him once. He put me in this technique called a kimura, where it's like a double joint submission, where you could hurt somebody. If it's done right, you'll hurt somebody's shoulder and their elbow at the same time. And I realized I didn't want to do jiu-jitsu anymore because it's so easy to be hurt and injured, and you're basically like putting all your trust into the person you're rolling with, because they could easily hurt you if they're capable, or put or like cause a career-ending injury if intentionally or unintentionally, like in the heat of the moment or in the heat of battle. If it's like a competition, it's if somebody's capable, like they will hurt you. But anyways, going back to the topic of the video, I was also disgusted. Like when I look at women nowadays, I realize how disgusted I am with the type of females I was attracted to, dude. Like I was so easily attracted the to women, or when I was younger, like these girls who I thought were like baddies, and the girls that are in their lust, because I was in my lust, and like perhaps corn definitely affected my male gaze, into like objectifying women and normalizing corrupt, immoral behavior. Just like the down bad, simp, like the dirty behavior, and you just start accepting less for yourself because you're operating in that down bad frequency, dude. You're just really not aware of the potential, the power that is dormant in your divine masculine energy. And man, that just makes me think of how, society or the devil, or yeah, I think it's just, the evil forces that lurk in this world. They want men to be emasculated, man. They don't want men to be aware of how capable and like how precious this energy truly is. Man, I just it's probably my top regret in life. Like if I could go back, I'm sure my life would have been so much better, bro. If I was just retaining from day one, dude. Like I feel that like over 99% of my current problems wouldn't be here. Like my life would have been on a completely different trajectory. And okay, sorry for going off on a tangent again. I'm also disgusted with like how afraid I was being in social situations, like just being so afraid of how other people would think of me. Not sure if the anxiety was probably even worse when I was like smoking weed and stuff, but I remember just being afraid of how what others would think, being afraid of being by myself, being feeling anxiety at the gym, like in the weight section where all the macho dudes are, right? Or like afraid of like eating alone. And I remember this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but at a young age, I remember like there were like instances where I was like being bullied, and so I felt like more safe being around friends at school, or I felt more protected if I was like around friends, instead of like having the confidence to just, be a man and like be a physically capable man. And I feel like when I'm retaining, I just feel bold, dude. Like, I don't know, like as bold as a lion, but I just feel, and I hope it's not me, um, what's the word? Like overestimating myself again. But I just feel a lot more secure, like a lot more just confident, even if I lack fighting capability or whatever. I just feel more like, I don't know. I remember saying this in one video. I just felt like I'm not to be fucked with. Like if it's like a one-on-one, I would feel, I don't know, not afraid. Or even if I am alone and it's like a group of people, I feel like it's in God's hands. Like, I don't know. It's just, is it a feeling of divine protection, or I think it's a taste of that or a bit of that, and just, yeah. Okay. Anyways, um, I feel more like secure in my own skin. I feel more confident in what I bring to the table, and I realize that many people won't like me, but what's important is that like I like myself, and that sounds cliche as you know, but I feel proud like when I'm able to retain, and when I was a coomer, I felt like only shame when I was watching the dirty sites, or you know choking the chicken or whatever. And when you're in that frequency, if you do it often enough, it becomes you, excuse me, you accept it into like normalizing it, into thinking that like this is okay to be watching something that you wouldn't feel proud to share with the rest of the world. Like you're not gonna, you know, uh, record yourself whacking it, you know what I mean? Or and post it on YouTube or something. Like it's not something that you should be proud about, It's not an accomplishment. So I'm not even sure how some people get to that point where they like when they are cooming and they are watching the dirty sites with like other people or stuff like that. Like that's the whole that's even further down in that dark path. But anyways, I feel like another thing, um to this day I feel that I have like zero friends that I'm close to. But even when like at my current job or my last job, I've had coworkers ask me to hang out, and most of the times like the energy just doesn't feel right, bro. So like I always say no, and I always feel better just being solo, dude. Because those outings, to the times where I did go to those outings, the vibe just didn't feel right, or those social activities involve like alcohol and gossiping and like other low vibrational activities that are just boring. And so I remember just leaving early so many times, like two times or a couple times. I just dipped, bro. Like, and I wasn't so in my head where I thought, oh man, what are they gonna think if I leave, dude? If I leave the party early or something. It's like, bro, this is boring. Life is short. I'm not gonna waste any more time, you know, being bored at this outing. And so, sometimes it like honestly it does feel lonely at times on this journey. But when I'm retaining, I feel like sometimes it's like for my own good. It's for the greater good. It's for my best. It's for my it's what's best for me, because I'm given the opportunity to develop a better relationship with myself. And if I pay enough attention, if I'm humble and I observe, I can still learn more about myself and others through their words, their nonverbal behavior. And this one psychology guy, he's called a Sigmund Freud or whatever. It's called like a Freudian slip, when you it's sort of like when you're not really thinking or you're not being mindful of what you're saying, people will essentially expose themselves. Like they'll say things that are a reflection of their hearts. And that ties into that girl that I used to think was cute at work, where she, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but she exposed herself. And when you're not retaining, you're not as sharp or as good at being able to pick up these details. You're not as aware of being able to see the nonverbal cues, you know, in their eyes. You're not able to see, to feel the energy of a person, of a place. Your intuition is just off, bro. And so I don't know who needs to hear this. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. This video is getting too long, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that, man. Peace, love, and blessings.